What up, guys? It's Bob with Josh, and today we're gonna do a college football 25 rebuild. And I decided to pick the Tennessee Volunteers because they haven't won a championship in a long time. I feel really bad for them. So here we go. America's brightest orange. All right, we're signed in, ready to go. Again, my goal is to win a national championship with this team in 4 years, and hopefully, I don't know, just win a national championship because they haven't been good since the '90s. I think I might start a series where I do this with every '90s school. But let me know what you guys want to see.
Thank you so much once again for letting me use them.
Yeah, dude, you're welcome, bro. How was it?
They served me well. I shot, I believe, I need to double check. I believe I shot an 87.
Dang, okay.
I was pretty good. The first nine, the first round of the season, so just first round of the season stuff.
Hmm.
And then
We turned it on.
turned it on, really. I mean, I had a birdie par five. I think it had 4 pars total. So
Okay.
it was pretty sick. It was pretty sick. I was pretty happy about it.
Nice.
The range session in the morning was atrocious.
Yeah, I was not off to a hot start.
Not after it starts. So I was a little worried.
Interesting. PTO, PTO.
Big Cleveland guy.
Oh yeah.
No, but it took me a second to get used to the composite shafts, where they're very whippy.
Oh, what are they normally like?
The timing. Well, I know I've always played with steel shafts,
How?
and so
Okay.
they're very stiff on your irons, right?
Yeah.
But those are very they feel like a driver a little bit
Okay.
because they're just more bendy.
Gotcha.
But once I figured out the timing, oh, exactly.
PTO, PTO.
Oh,
Okay, guys. So I've now chosen our schedule for the year. I decided to start off with Nebraska and then BYU and then Kentucky, and the rest is all just the normal schedule from a couple years ago. But let's give it a shot. Also, something I forgot to add is I changed our offensive playbook to the air raid. Also, for anyone wondering, this is all on All American difficulty. Again, this is with Nico from a couple years ago, so not from the great team. They go, oh my gosh, and I get sacked on the first play. That is not good. I look in the second and long. My read is going to be R1 to O to X. And so far, this is not going great for me. I've got a 4th and 7. So, we're going to do, I think we're going to trust our luck. First drive of the season, let's set the tone. And we got a first down. Let's go, guys. Something I find really interesting about Tennessee is just how they've progressed over the years. Like they used to be such a run heavy team that like back in the day, and now they're mostly known for their passing. I mean, they've always had like solid. They have some solid running backs even now. I'm gonna have Vector on the curl, by the way, but they're like an all passing team now. You know, it's kind of wild. I know I put this on literally on air raid, but it was worth mentioning. Also, we're gonna punt this one. Uh oh. Uh oh. That is not good. We're down 6-0. I also realized I haven't run the ball a single time yet. I'm like a 7 play drive. There's Herbie the Husker. All right. We need to lock in. We're gonna go back to where Tennessee's roots are. Running the darn ball. There we go. Second first round of the season. Tell you what, this Nebraska team, for whatever reason, at least in the game a couple years ago, was really good. Maybe I'm just really bad, but no one's really getting open. Right, pass play. And he's open. Not anymore. See, this is an interesting game. Because like I said, what I think this series is going to turn into is me starting like to build like traditional powerhouses. And it's crazy they're playing Nebraska right now. All right. So I'm sure as many of you know, Nebraska won like 5 national championships and then fired that one Frank Solich, I think is his name. And then everything went kind of downhill. Kind of except for the fan base in Nebraska. Both these fan bases to get used to mediocrity. Not that Tennessee's really that mediocre, but not winning natties anymore, for that's for sure. All right. That was dumb. I guess he's really good at rolling left. All right, 3rd and 1. Down by 7. End of the first quarter. I think we're going to go ahead and snap it. All right. First set of downs going into the second quarter. Another first down. I think another thing I'm really going to want to talk about in this series is it'll be interesting to see. Like, yeah, I'm going to talk. Oh, I know where you dropped that. I think I'm also going to talk about what each team that I do needs to do to improve to like become a contender in college football again. I think the biggest thing for Tennessee right now is just like winning the games they need to or they're supposed to. Like, I'm pretty sure they lost to Vanderbilt this year, and a game they definitely should have won. Meaning they were a better team than Vanderbilt, in my opinion, but they just kind of fell off the tracks actually after they lost to Oklahoma around Halloween time. And after that, just the rest of the season was down the drain. And yeah, they just play really tough schedule every year. Like they play Georgia pretty much every year. They play Florida almost every year, which like isn't a very good team, but it's a tough place to play. And they always have a lot of natural talent on those Gator teams. Um, Look at that stick, by the way. Um, Another thing too is, I mean, find their like identity, kind of. I mean, their identity isn't offense right now, but like they're just really they've been really consistent on offense. I think that really hurt them. Oh, they also play Alabama every year. They just have a really tough schedule, and until they get a better schedule, I don't know what all is going to change. For Nebraska, I could talk for hours on what Nebraska needs to do different. Great third down stop, by the way. Is Nebraska like? I think for one, they're doing one thing right, which is like they haven't had a winning culture in a long time, And I think Rule has finally kind of brought that back. Like a lot of people that transferred out this year from Nebraska, they um respectfully just didn't have a winning attitude. They cared more about themselves or whatever than they cared about the team, the success of the team. And I think with a lot of people that left in this transfer cycle, hopefully some of that'll get out. And then also putting like personality differences aside, like the biggest issue last year was the offensive line. Like Nebraska sucked on the offensive side of the ball, primarily with like anything besides an RPO and pass blocking. They sucked at pass blocking, and so with the firing of their last offensive coach, I think that might. Oh my gosh, there's another pick. That might get a lot better, but we'll see. Nebraska needs to do a lot of things better. I think your offensive line coach is a lot better. I think I just said that, but I wanted to clarify. I think it'll be a big difference. I think Donovan Raiola was a good quarterback last year for the Huskers, but he didn't have an offensive line to block for him. And so, no matter how good your quarterback is, if he is getting hit on every play, then it's just not a good combo. Great sack, by the way. Oh my gosh, this could go a yard. Great way to go to the 2 minute timeout. I thought we almost threw another pick. I'd have been so mad. But anyway, yeah. So now the construction of my thoughts. I'm gonna start talking about Nebraska last year. Last year, Nebraska, everyone, I think the first kind of talk about the fan base. The fan base was all kind of expecting to get 10 wins this year, which wasn't insanely out of the picture, but like Big Ten is a hard conference, even if they had the easiest schedule they've had in their entire history of being in the Big Ten. The Big Ten just not an easy place to play in, much less to win. And they had a lot of young guys last year. Like, think about their games. They got a little bit better than they have been in the past at winning the close ones, like the first one of the year in Cincinnati. But when they played opponents that were more talented than them, they just got beat up, like against Penn State. And they still have a problem with closing out games, which happens to every football team. It's funny that Nebraska fans think it's just them. But talking about, like, I don't know, when they when they were playing USC and their Raiola goes down, obviously huge thing to have happen to you. But they still had a chance to win. Like I think the game was still a close game at that point, and they kind of just like didn't care anymore. And then earlier in the season, their first loss being to Michigan, that game was closer than it looked, but it was still within the day a winnable game. And all they had to do to beat Michigan was get another stop, and they've got it. I mean, that's not a lucky Hail Mary at the beginning of the first half, but kind of crazy. Who are their other losses? Iowa. Iowa just ran them out of the Bowdoin Memorial. That was crazy. Penn State, USC, Michigan. I'm trying to remember who else Nebraska lost to last year. Let me pull it up. Oh no. That's my spot. That's bad. Oh, I forgot about Minnesota. Honestly, Minnesota was probably their worst loss. Minnesota was probably their worst loss of the season. That was embarrassing. That was a game that they're going to go in there and just blow the tail off. And they didn't.